In 1960, South Korea and Ghana had almost identical economies. Same GDP per capita, same life expectancy, same level of industrialization. Today, the average South Korean earns 15 times more than the average Ghanaian. What happened in those 60 years wasn't luck, it wasn't resources. Ghana has gold, oil, cocoa. South Korea has mountains and fish. What separated them was something most people never see, a set of invisible rules that determine which countries get to climb the ladder and which ones get stuck holding it. Here's what makes this urgent right now. We're living through the largest wealth transfer between nations in human history. Countries are reshuffling positions faster than at any point since World War II, and yet most people still think economic development works like a meritocracy. Work hard, build good products, wealth follows. That's not how it works. There's a system, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with what economists call the original sin. No, not that one. This is the original sin of finance. When a poor country wants to borrow money, it faces a problem rich countries never think about. It can't borrow in its own currency. Think about that for a second. The United States borrows trillions of dollars in dollars, which it prints. Japan borrows in yen. The EU borrows in euros. If things go bad, they have options. Not good options, but options. Bangladesh can't borrow in taka. Nigeria can't borrow in naira. They have to borrow in dollars or euros or yen, currencies they don't control, currencies they can't print. This seems like a technical detail. It's not. It's the difference between playing poker with your own chips and playing with chips you have to buy from someone else at a price that keeps changing. The mechanism, part 2. So here's what happens. A developing country needs to build infrastructure, roads, ports, power plants, essential stuff. It borrows $1 billion at, let's say, 6% interest. The project will take 5 years. In year 1, everything seems fine. But then global interest rates rise, or commodity prices drop, or investors get nervous about some other country on the other side of the world, and suddenly everyone wants dollars. Your currency crashes. That $1 billion loan, it's now the equivalent of $1.3 billion in your money. Your debt just grew by 30%, and you didn't spend a single extra dollar. You got poorer by standing still. This isn't a hypothetical. This is Argentina in 2001. This is Sri Lanka in 2022. This is happening to Pakistan right now. Here's where it gets worse. When you can't pay, you have 2 choices. Default, which means no one will lend to you for a decade, or go to the International Monetary Fund. The IMF will give you an emergency loan, but it comes with conditions. Cut government spending, raise interest rates, privatize state companies, remove subsidies on food and fuel. These policies have a name, structural adjustment. They also have a track record, and it's not pretty. Between 1980 and 2000, 50 countries in Africa and Latin America took IMF loans with these exact conditions. Their average growth rate during those 2 decades was less than 1% per year. Many shrank. Meanwhile, the countries that ignored this advice, China, Vietnam, South Korea in earlier decades, grew at 7, 8, 9% annually. The uncomfortable truth is this. The rules for... Now let's talk about the countries that broke the pattern, because some did. South Korea in the 1960s did almost everything the current system says not to do. It protected its industries with tariffs. It forced banks to lend to specific companies at below market rates. It picked winners, Samsung, Hyundai, LG. These weren't market-chosen champions, they were government-chosen champions. According to modern economic orthodoxy, this should have failed catastrophically. It didn't. South Korea became one of the fastest-growing economies in human history. Taiwan did the same thing. So did Japan before them. China looked at their playbook and ran the same play at 10 times the scale. But here's the irony. Once these countries got rich, they joined the group telling everyone else to follow different rules. Free markets, open borders, let competition decide. It's like pulling up the ladder after you've climbed it. There's another layer to this. Currency and debt are just the surface. The real invisible rule is this. Global finance is structured so that poor countries export cheap labor and raw materials, then import expensive finished goods and services. The value stays in rich countries. Your iPhone is assembled in China, but 70% of its value goes to American companies: design, software, branding, retail margin. The assembly, the part China does, captures maybe 5%. Scale this across every product, every industry, every trade relationship, and you see the pattern. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed, just not for everyone. Right now, something is shifting. 60 countries are in or near debt default. That's the highest number since tracking began. The total debt of low-income countries has tripled in the last decade. At the same time, the old powers are fragmenting. The BRICS nations are building alternative payment systems. Saudi Arabia is selling oil in yuan. The invisible rules are being rewritten in real time, but it's not clear what replaces them. Some economists think we're heading toward a multipolar financial system, different currency zones, different rules for different blocks. Others think we're heading for a wave of defaults that makes the 1980s debt crisis look minor. Here's what most people miss. This isn't just about economics, it's about power, about who gets to set the rules, about whose crises get bailouts, and whose get lectures about fiscal responsibility. When banks in the United States and Europe collapsed in 2008, central banks created trillions of dollars out of thin air to save them. Quantitative easing, they called it. It was necessary, systemic risk. When Zambia couldn't pay its debts in 2020, it got austerity demands and a 3-year negotiation process. No magic money printing, no systemic risk considerations, just cut spending, raise revenue, and good luck. Same planet, different rules. Let's zoom out to the biggest number. Over the last 40 years, the wealth gap between the richest and poorest countries hasn't shrunk, it's grown. The average income in the top 20 countries is now 70 times higher than the bottom 20. 70 times. And it's not because poor countries aren't trying. Ghana's economy grows at 5% some years, but when you're starting from $2,000 per capita, 5% growth is $100. When you're starting from $60,000 per capita, even 2% growth is $1,200. You're getting further behind while moving forward. The math doesn't work, and everyone in the system knows it. So why does it continue? Partly inertia, partly because the people who benefit from the current rules also write them, partly because the alternatives are genuinely uncertain and potentially chaotic. But maybe the real reason is simpler. These rules are invisible to most people. You can't fight what you can't see. The countries that got rich didn't follow the rules they now enforce. They protected their markets, subsidized their industries, controlled their capital flows. They played a different game. Then they changed the rules once they won. The question isn't whether the system is fair. It demonstrably isn't. The question is whether it's stable, whether countries will keep playing a game that seems rigged against them, and what happens when enough of them decide to stop. Right now, we're finding out.